I want to ask you a bit about Declan Gandhi again, though, because you said you're delighted to see him back. Who's backing him financially? Do you not worry about the people that Declan Gandhi associates with? He hangs out with the American military. He hangs around with very rich businessmen. Are you not worried that these are the type of people who are behind the conspiracies that you've spoken about to change the world order? That he is actually one of them?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into his background fully. I know it's been certainly debated and written about at length in some newspapers, but I felt that there was certainly an attempt at a demonization campaign. But as far as I'm concerned, he's voting no, and So
does it matter? Does it matter who's behind him then? If he's on your side, does it matter as to who's giving him the money to run these campaigns?
Well, I haven't personally looked into that.
Why not? You've looked into an awful lot of things. I mean, you spend a lot of time, don't you, researching things on the internet. So why not look into Declan Gandhi?
Well, I've kind of I've been looking at the whole macroscopic thing of where this is going, really. I haven't been, focusing in on Declan Gandhi, but just to talk about macroscopically where this whole thing is going. And I spoke about this again, and I think an awful lot of people are out there are waking up to exactly what is going on. That is the one world government. I mean, this EU basically is a stepping stone towards the one world government.
But what would be involved in a one world government?
It's basically the elite international banking families and European royalty and aristocracy are trying to set up a one world government, global governance basically, and they're well on their way to doing it.
How are they well on their way to doing it? Hasn't the banking system fallen into absolute crisis where many of them have lost absolute fortunes in recent years?
Well, we've talked about that before. When I come on to you, I talk about the financial crisis. I certainly have my opinions on that. But my understanding is what they're trying to do is to merge the European Union with the North American Union, which has been done in stealth, the Asia-Pacific Union and the African Union to form a one-world government. Now, what I have learned is that they're trying to set up, believe it or not, a scientific dictatorship. And you can see the slow incremental loss of civil liberties all across Europe because of the war on terror fraud, and also now because of the man-made global warming.
So we have more civil liberties in Europe than we ever had. I mean, the European Union itself came about to try and make sure there would never be wars on continental Europe, like the war from 1939 to 1945 that took over 6 million lives. Isn't that what the European Union is all about? Rather than actually taking away liberties, it's providing safeguards for people. It's to make sure that there won't be wars.
Well, it's the elite who are trying to create this one-world government that want the wars. I mean, when you get into studying 9/11, I've got a little bit new information on that. It's absolutely unbelievable and frightening what is going on.
Where are you getting this information? I mean, you say you're studying. Where are you finding out all these things?
Well, if you read, I've read some of the books of the elite. I've studied excerpts from their books. And actually, if people go to my website, jimcorr.com, there's a section called One World Government, and there's hundreds of quotes from the elite and their minions talking about the coming world government.
I want to ask you a little bit about 9/11. This is, of course, the 8th anniversary of 9/11. I see Charlie Sheen, the actor, has got involved now in the United States in challenging Barack Obama to release various files and documents which he thinks will prove that 9/11 was an inside job by the Bush administration.
Yeah.
Is this theory really going to fly, in fairness?
I think, I'm afraid so. I mean, what has happened recently is a group of eminent scientists were positively able to identify unreacted nanothermite in the dust from the World Trade Centers. Now, to explain what nanothermite is, it's a high energy pyrotechnic explosive that can cut through steel like a hot knife through butter. Now, how on earth did that get into the dust from the World Trade Center? But it gives explanation to the obvious controlled demolition of the Twin Towers. Actually, the 3 towers, World Trade Center 7 as well.
Could it not have been in the planes that crashed into the Twin Towers?
There was the scientists were able to determine that there must have been tons of nanothermite in the dust. I mean,
so are you suggesting that the Twin Towers were detonated, that it wasn't the planes that crashed into them that actually caused the explosions that caused the Twin Towers to collapse?
Well, isn't it very obvious when you look at the footage? But it was a first in demolition history. It wasn't an implosion. It was actually an explosion where everything was expelled and the beams were expelled 500 feet out vertically, horizontally, sorry. It's kind of obvious when you look at it, and obviously with the discovery by these eminent scientists of the nanothermite, it does give explanation to what we saw.
Why would the American administration, the Bush administration, have wanted to kill 3,500 of its own people in the Twin Towers, and the people who were killed in the Pentagon, and the people in the other planes that crashed?
Plus 6,000 troops and 1.5 million Iraqis as well. They wanted obviously, as it was outlined in the PNAC document, which is a project for a new American century, this neocon think tank kind of secretive group, but they put it out on the internet. They were calling for a new Pearl Harbor, basically. They needed a pretext so that they could go to war in the Middle East, and so they could dominate the oil, get an oil pipeline across the Caspian Sea, and also to launch a war on democracy here in the West.
Okay, is there more of this on jimcorr.com?
Jimcorr.com, absolutely. There's a lot more information on it. Do visit. And vote no.
Thank you very much for joining us, Jim Corr. We'll be back after this.